Today, on Be Something Wonderful, whether it's health, wealth, or love, just say the word, I am that now. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, welcome back. Early morning here in Las Vegas in the studios at Be Something Wonderful, because I got a big video for you today. I want to talk about, I'm going to start with a session that I actually had this morning, one of my only early morning sessions. Today, I have some after this video. And the video actually wasn't prepared around this session. It was prepared around a session yesterday. Actually, two sessions. That one that I even referred to in yesterday's video. And this idea that to both of these clients that I talked with yesterday are really getting the idea that they are consciously announcing and declaring their reality right now, even as they stand in the midst of what they would call undesirable conditions. Standing in it and staying in that conviction, and then seeing these conditions change. So I want to talk about that, but first I'm going to start with this early morning session. This person is a licensed professional therapist for years. Dr. Joe Dispenza, she's been to dozens of seminars. In her own right, she is a metaphysical expert. She teaches it. She's got clients. She was just talking about a client that had migraines all her life, that no longer had migraines. She walked her through that. So this was a health issue that she was talking about that a client no longer has. And what she wanted to talk about was her own SP situation, interestingly. But we got into a big talk about metaphysics. And she goes, you know, Tom, I've been studying this for years. I've been to dozens of Dr. Joe seminars, others. I've read it all. She mentioned all the spiritual greats. I mean, she's an expert. She goes, but it really didn't click with me until I saw one or two of your videos where you mentioned, she goes, and I think I mentioned this on actually almost all my videos, that you are the walking, living source. So so a state akin to sleep and affirming and going into meditation, so all of that's good. But source is all around you. And I think she specifically mentioned the Gospel of Thomas, when Jesus says that the kingdom, right, ultimate reality, is both within you and outside of you. It really clicked in her that, and she even mentioned, I think one of you posted something about subconscious and meditations yesterday on the Facebook page. And she even referred to that. She referred to, I think some of you were talking about a 1970s CIA study of subconscious affirmations or subconscious thoughts. And she goes, you know, Tom, she goes, I've studied that material. I know all about that. And she talks about, she goes, and I just realized that it's not so, she goes, we're always walking in that light. I hear this. We're always walking in that corridor of the subconscious realm. We're in it right now. And she goes, sure, you know, she goes, I meditate a lot, and I feel that, and I feel like I'm in that other realm, but it wasn't until I really got that idea that I'm in the realm now, not just when I meditate. Do you hear this? The ultimate reality source, the quantum realm, is within you and outside of you. So it's great that you meditate. I think this Facebook, one of our subscribers was talking about entering the quantum realm and feeling the shift when they went in meditation and then after they got out of meditation. But here's the thing, you're always shifting. And she was laughing. She goes, I don't need the CIA to tell me who I am. I'm source. Do you see it? It's really big. All that's good. All that stuff is good. All that material is good. Nothing wrong with it. And the Dr. Joe Dispenza meditations are powerful, extremely powerful, right? Where, you know, that he tells his own story, right? That's how he healed. So all of that's powerful, but there's really nothing more powerful than knowing that you are source, that I am, as you declare that, As you walk as the living source, it's within you and outside of you. You are the living source. You're always there. Not just when you're walking in a corridor of lights in your meditations. You're always there. And in terms of, remember, all thought is consciousness. Right? So what's the difference between subconscious thought? The subconscious thought is just a thought that you're not currently thinking right now. It's below awareness. But it's all consciousness. So whatever you're saying, whatever you're affirming right now as the living source is being dropped in that greater consciousness. You are programming it in every moment. This is really what she got at. Because she says it's just taking her to a whole new level, this understanding, right? And you're the living source, not just when you're imagining and meditating or in a state akin to sleep. You are consciousness and awareness. You are not just shifting when you imagine corridors filled with light. This is what she specifically mentioned. And I think one of you mentioned it on that Facebook post, which she was referring to. You are the light. Do you see it? It's bigger than that. Sure, you can follow steps, even the subconscious steps that the CIA talked about in the 1970s. But you are source. You don't need another source to tell you you're source. You don't need someone to tell you that you walk corridors of light. You are the light. Do you see it? Your I am story right now, because this is what she really got at. And this is what we talked about in terms of her specific person. It's your I am story right now is the light. It's lighting. You know how when those houses and corridors and hotels where they have the automatic lights. I think I was in one in Johannesburg and at the airport. And as I got out of the hotel room, it would light up as I walked. That's what we're talking about, right? The lights came on and the lights moved with me, right? The corridor was dark. And then I opened the door and the immediate light came on where I was. And then as I walked, the lights came on. That's you. So you can get that in meditation, certainly. And meditation is powerful. State akin to sleep is powerful. Affirmations are powerful, but there's nothing more powerful than know that you're the walking, living source. And those lights are coming on as you're walking. Just like that hotel room, right? Your entire life experience is your story right now that you're consciously and unconsciously telling. But so you're going to go tell them, well, what about the unconscious story? Tell it consciously how you want it to be. Walk in that light as that light, right? You are the light, so the light must come on. You are infinitely shifting realities and identities. Who do you say I am? Remember, all thinking is consciousness. Not just the subconscious. So the subconscious and all that's right now. What are you consciously thinking? That's your power. So yes, all of that's powerful. Go into meditations. Do the state akin to sleep. But nothing's more powerful as these last sessions, these clients that I've been talking to, some that have studied for years, that are therapists, licensed therapists, that, lots of education. But they're getting it. That they're the walking, living source. And your story, your I am story right now, determines how you're going to walk and live within that source that you are, right? When you announce and declare you already are who and what you desire to be, you are invoking a higher law, a higher authority within you. Do you see it? You're turning those lights on, those lights that you see, those corridors that you walk in your meditations, which are good. You're walking them now. With your declaration, with your announcement of who you are right now consciously, right? You're calling upon that higher will. I am that I am. That's why Jesus said, not my will, but yours be done. That greater will. You're not trying to will things and change 3D conditions, right? And only think that you can do it while you're meditating or walking those corridors. You're always shifting. You're not just shifting within a meditation or even immediately after a meditation. You're shifting every moment by what you're declaring, what you're announcing, what you're thinking, believing, and assuming, right? You are identifying as I am God and there's no other when you give up to that higher will. Not my will, but that higher will, that I am awareness. That greater reality of who you are. You are the living source, right? So, I love this. In the story of the centurion, when Jesus heals, I mentioned this in another video, several videos. And in that same story around Matthew, he did a couple healings, not just the centurion, but he just says, the centurion says to Jesus. Remember, the centurion representing your 3D will, your lower will, your will that wants to influence effects and conditions of 3D reality, right? Your will that says, I can only walk that corridor of light in meditation. I can only, because the CIA talks about the 1970s, they say, do this in these subconscious thoughts. That must be the only way. That must be the way to do it, right? But you get to determine that. Right? And this is what the centurion says. Just say the word and my servant will be healed. Just say the word. He says to Jesus, he knows, he has faith in that I am. That's what he's saying to his I am. Just say the word. Remember, the centurion represents your 3D will. The servant is your body. Those conditions, those temporary thoughts and feelings, and those outer conditions. Your body, those outer conditions. And the servant will be healed. In other words, those conditions will form to what you want them to be. Why? Because you're moving to it. You're not in the same reality, in the same script where those undesirable conditions are. You're moving to a new script where it never needed healing, where those conditions are what you want them to be. Not just as you walk corridors of light in your meditations, but right now you're walking those corridors. Those corridors are all around you. You are the light, right? I am is the Word of God. And the Word of God is God. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. It's very clear. That's the creative power. That's the substance. You are that substance. Not just in meditations, not just in a state akin to sleep. Do you get it? I just want you to own that power right now. Like that client that I talked with either yesterday or the day before, that is just declaring things and staying in that conviction. Not doing heavy meditations, not doing heavy state akin to sleep, knows that she's shifting all the time, knows her power. All of it's good. And I've never said don't do processes. They're all good. Meditation is a part of what I do. I don't do routines, but for sure I meditate, but I also know that I'm always meditating to I am. That's the difference. Right? We got to know that we're always meditating. We're always walking that corridor light. Those lights are always turning on as we walk the corridor, like I did in that hotel, that Hilton in Johannesburg. Right? All things come into being through him, and apart from him, nothing came into being that has come into being. I love this. All things, there are no conditions outside of I am. All things come into being through him. Apart from him, nothing came into being that came into being. It's all you. The centurion is your 3D will in that 3D personality, trying to influence conditions. But when you just say the word, I am, just say that word, my servant will be healed, then you know where that power is coming from. So powerful this morning. Lord, I'm not worthy for you to come under my roof. This is also what the centurion says to Jesus, or to your I am. And some of you were going, oh, worthiness. You were interpreting that as some sort of 3D worthiness that we're talking about, where you feel unworthy or not deserving. It's not that. You are worthy by definition as I am. What is the centurion getting at? That as you get buried in those conditions, as you think you are those conditions, as you think you have to affect them and manage them through that I am, through a will, through willing your 3D personality, then you don't feel worthy. Of course you don't feel worthy in front of that I am. Right? You feel like you forget who you really are. That's the message here. As you, from your linear horizontal vantage point, you're saying, I'm not who I desire to be. That's what the message here is. Right? Not that you're not unworthy. Of course not. But you're going to feel it. You're going to have that experience of not being who you desire to be, or, quote, being unworthy. Right? But you're not. You try to influence and manipulate 3D conditions, the servant, the body. Right? That's the servant represents the body, or those 3D conditions. You try to bend them to your will. You try to flip thoughts, flip feelings, manipulate your specific person, manipulate conditions, all of that. But just say the word and my servant will be healed. I love this. In other words, I will move to that reality, to that film roll, to that script where my servant's already healed, where those conditions are already where I desire them to be. I'm just going to say the word. I'm going to affirm it. 3D conditions yield to your higher will and authority of I am. That inner conviction that I am already who I desire to be. That's the inner conviction. That's the feeling. That's what Neville Goddard was talking about. Is that conviction of I am. It's that inner sensation, right? Your inner senses of that conviction, of that knowingness. That's what we're talking about. Whether it's health, wealth, or love, which this morning we talked about all of those. This woman's powerful. Right? Powerful therapist, powerful expert in metaphysics. It was such a joy to talk to her. Whether it's health, wealth, or love expressed as an experience in 3D reality, those conditions must yield to your greater identity and higher will. I am that. I am who I say I am. Not just in meditation, not just when I'm imagining walking corridors of light. When I'm walking in 3D reality, I am the light. I am source. Do you see it? I am in the infinite realm. Right now you're in the infinite realm, not just when you meditate. I get it. You can feel that experience, but you can feel that now, right? I come and heal him. And so this is what Jesus says when the centurion wants him to heal a servant. Jesus says immediately, I will come and heal him. I will come. Again, using the verb come when he's not there. Not I will go. I will come and heal him, meaning the healing's already there. Do you see the deliberate use of verb tenses here in Scripture? I will come, meaning I am already here. Not I will go and heal him. That reality is already there. The money's there. The health's there. The love's there. That reality is already there. You're already in that reality. The health, the wealth, and love's already there. The conviction and faith of I am is absolute and perfect. That's what we're talking about. I am is absolute faith. It's absolute conviction. I am is your identity or your awareness. It's your true identity versus the 3D will and personality that has some authority to move things around in physical conditions and effects. Right? You have some authority to move effects around, to try to manipulate and influence people, places, and things. You might have some success there. You might work up inductively and try to manifest things. You'll manifest things for sure. You're always manifesting. You are a creator. On every level, you're a creator. Those levels of creation, if you remember. But it feels, it's exhausting, and it feels like a lot of effort. And then you go, well, how come it's just when I meditate that I walk the corridors of light? You don't. You're always walking them. Do you see it? All of those. But giving it up to the higher will, that perfect faith, that perfect conviction of I am. Not just the 3D personality. For I also am a man under authority with soldiers under me. This is what the centurion says to Jesus. That's why he really understood. When you understand that, yes, you can affect conditions from that lower will, but there's nothing more powerful than that higher will. Those soldiers representing your thoughts in physical 3D conditions. Yeah, I'm also a man under authority. I tell these soldiers to go there or go there, and they do it. Right? Just like the thoughts and physical conditions. You think something and you try to flip thoughts and flip feelings, you'll do it. Right? But then they just come back. It's exhausting. Go to that, Jesus to the centurion, go. It shall be done for you as you have believed, as you had faith, according to your conviction. As you have believed, according to that greater belief in your I am. Do you hear it? That perfect belief, that perfect authority, that perfect conviction. Believe in that according to your faith, your conviction. I am that which I desire to be. And the servant was healed. Note this one line that they say in Matthew at the end of this story of the centurion, and I've pointed this out in previous videos. And the servant was healed that very moment. That very moment. Why? Because there's only now. And it's moving to a reality. Here's the reality of the film roll, the script, where the servant was sick. Jesus doesn't see that. Jesus sees the script or the film roll or the reality where the servant was never sick. That the healing, that it's not even about healing, it's about the healing's already there. The perfection's already there. The I am's already there. Whether it's health, wealth, or love, just say the word, I am that now. And so be it. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, thank you. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for loving and loving Thank you for loving the videos. Thank you for liking and sharing and commenting on the videos. If you love them, I love that too. Thank you for joining us on Facebook, the Be Something Wonderful Ambassadors, our group at facebook.com/groups/Be Something Wonderful. For joining us on Instagram and Twitter and Threads at Tom Kearin. And just go to our website anytime for all that information and more at tomkearin.com or besomethingwonderful.com. Don't forget, we also have a membership channel. We have a live stream coming up on August 6, 2023, live, right here with me in Las Vegas, in our studios here. And I will answer your questions that you're sending to info@besomethingwonderful.com. I'll answer those live on our membership channel. That's exclusively for the members. And for that channel, there'll be another video coming soon. I released one a few days ago. More content coming there. Creators, thank you. Thank you for being with me. With great love, with great light, and infinite gratitude, this is Tom. We'll see you soon.